it makes me appreciate those who do the lists on a regular basis that we are so quick to criticize.
No inhibition. Yeah, let's try that again.
Yeah.
No inhibitions. Make no conditions. Get a little out of line. I ain't going to act politically correct. I only want to have a good time. Man, I feel like a woman. As we kick off episode number 141 of the Promo UPFront podcast, I'm one of your hosts, Bill Petrie. With me, as always, let's call him the warrior for women's empowerment today, the one and only Kirby Hasseman. Kirby, how the hell are you?
You know what? I'm doing great. I actually did not know where you're going with that lyric today, so I was excited to see how it ended. That was fun. No, I'm doing really well. The year's kicked off well. We're in that little slog in Ohio where, I'm like, okay, it's March, so the weather's going to get better, and it's officially not. So we've had more snow, I think, so far in March than we had in February. Other than that, though, I really can't complain because the winter's been super mild. So other than that, I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Good. I'm good. I was channeling my inner Shania Twain there as we kicked off the podcast. Like you, it's cold. Today, the high is going to be 54, but the low this morning was 23. So and the high on Saturday is like 39. So I feel you when it comes to the weather. It's just not giving us what we expect in March. And because it's not giving back what we want, it got me to thinking, Kirby, and it got me to thinking about how our sponsor today in Hirsch is our sponsor today. They don't really want to talk about their deep inventory, the brand new JBL Pulse 5 Bluetooth speaker they just dropped, or even the fact that they were just named number 13 on the online 18 for influential companies. No, they don't want to talk about that. They'd rather do something that promotes a give back program, right? That's how we tie it into the opening sentence there. They want to do a little good in our industry. In fact, what they want is everyone listening to help Hirsch donate money to their chosen charity of choice, which is Homes for Our Troops. That's what they want. So since 2004, Homes for Our Troops has built 346 specially adapted homes nationwide, with the goal being to build a home for every veteran who qualifies for one. And I love the charity and I love the give back. So they also provide pro bono financial planner for 3 years to assist in financial planning and household budgeting, in addition to the home ownership and warranty coverage to ensure that the veteran is set up for long-term success as a homeowner. Kirby, I know you think that's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, well, it's not only amazing stuff, and I love how Hirsch sort of owns that, but to be honest with you, what it does is it inspires me to try and do better in my area, because when I see things like that, I'm like, oh man, there's more that I could do. And I think, that's one of those unspoken benefits of doing good in your specific area is not only does it do good, but it inspires other people to do good. And to me, that's the ultimate compliment.
Absolutely. And like I said, they don't want to do anything but raise some money for Homes for Our Troops. So here's how it's going to work, kids. This is going to cost you nothing but a few minutes of your time. So number one, head over to the Hirsch website. It's been redesigned. It's hirschpromo.com. Take a few minutes, find your favorite piece of merchandise and copy the link. Then you need to send an email to marketing@hirschpromo.com. In the subject line, put the word donate. And in the body, put that favorite piece of Hirsch merchandise.
Love it.
For every email they get, they are going to donate $10 to Homes for Our Troops. Now, you got to do it before Monday at midnight, Monday, the March 20th at midnight, and only one donation per email address. Okay, let's not bankrupt Hirsch as they're trying to do a little bit of good here. In 2022, Hirsch donated over just right at $100,000 to Homes for Our Troops, and with your help, they'd love to eclipse that this year. So can't think of anything better to say, but Hirsch, great products, even better people, right? I mean, can't go wrong there.
Okay,
all right, I'll be doing this
myself.
All right, well, then I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be doing that here later on. All right, so this is one of our favorite podcasts of the year. This is our annual I think it's our 83rd annual.
I think so. Yeah. I think 83rd.
Yeah, 83rd annual Powerhouse Women of Promo. We know that the women in our industry do some amazing things. We also know that sometimes, and more often than we all would care to admit, they're not recognized. They're not singled out for being amazing leaders in business and creatives and things like that. So we really wanted to, we want to every year take a pause, especially during International Women's Month, to really just focus on the amazing women in our industry. We have about 7 categories here. I'm really excited about them. We've each picked a winner, for lack of a better term, and then a kind of an honorable mention, someone to keep your eyes on. So
Yep.
why don't we start off with Distributor Woman to Watch? Kirby, why don't you start us off with Distributor Woman to Watch? You have something to say.
I do, if I could. Just something we literally talked about right before we hit record on this. One of the things that's interesting in doing this podcast on a regular basis is, like, I think I love lists. You're less enthusiastic about lists, right? But I really do love them. But what I will say is, in preparing, and this is probably the most preparation I do for a podcast all year. Because I really do want to be thoughtful about this. It makes me appreciate those who do the lists on a regular basis, that we are so quick to criticize. And I won't speak for you. But for me, it's like, go ahead.
No, some of us are quicker than others to criticize.
Yeah. So kudos to all of you who do lists that we give shout outs to, but also kind of give our our feedback on. So for the ASIs and the PPAIs and all the people who do lists in the industry, this really does make me appreciate. I think it's like that in every area of your life, right? Where it's like the moment that you do the thing that you're criticizing, you're like, oh, this is actually harder than it looks.
Well, and as I spent a lot of time really going over this, trying to be very thoughtful, trying to recognize maybe some people who don't get that recognition, right? And one of the things I realized is I really don't like opinionated lists unless they're my opinions. I've decided that that's what makes the list awesome. So let's go ahead and start off. Good call. We did talk. We said we were going to talk about it, and I summarily forgot. All right. So Kirby, Distributor Woman to Watch. Who is your Distributor Woman to Watch, and who's your runner-up? Let's do it that way today.
Do it that way. I'll give you both.
Yeah.
So this is a name that's been on the list multiple times. And, I think that's actually one of the challenges I've found with this list is there are just certain people who I can't not recognize. And so this specific piece, the distributor piece, is the one where I found the most. So my Distributor Woman to Watch is Johanna Gottlieb. She is such a powerhouse in our industry. And excuse me. And she just inspires me, not only working with Promo Kitchen, the work she does at Halo now. And she's one of those people who, whenever she speaks, I listen. And so that would be number one for me is Johanna Gottlieb. And my honorable mention goes to Mandy Rudd, another person who I have mentioned before. But again, in this particular instance, not only about running her distributorship, but she's one of those people, just like I talked about with Hirsch, who reminds me to be not just about me. I know she's on the Promo Cares board. She does Big Slick, which is a fundraiser in Kansas that she works with. And whenever I see anything she posts, I'm always just like, ooh, I really should try and be a bigger person. And Mandy makes me want to be that way. So mine are Johanna and Mandy.
Love those great selections. I took the list and I was like, I don't want to, I tried not to repeat.
Yep.
Maybe that's good. Maybe that's bad. That's just the direction I took. So I think both your suggestions, or your people on your list, they're perfect. I love Johanna, love Mandy. They're so both, they are powerhouses, right? That's the definition of it. My Distributor Woman to Watch is Melissa Young from Corporate Incentives in Houston.
Okay.
She has built, along with her family, it's a family business. She runs it now, owns it now, right? She has built a really tremendous distributorship in Houston. Plus, she spends a lot of time with the United Way. She was just named on their United Way Women That Rock list in the Houston area. Same thing, right? That element of give back, that element of making sure your community is as great as it can be.
Love
So Melissa Young would be my distributor woman to watch. And my honorable mention is Rachel Levin from
it.
Stran.
Love that one.
She
Yeah.
is an absolute dynamo. I've known Rachel for probably 10 years, and to watch her absolutely just crush it as a distributor salesperson, but then also put on that board hat.
Yeah.
She was the board president for Sagney, or board chair for Sagney, and the amount of work, and you were there as well.
Yeah.
The amount of work that her and the board put into really reimagining what Promotions East could be as a trade show. I have to give a huge shout out to that.
Agreed.
And she is just someone I think the world of. So my two are Melissa Young, Corporate Incentives, and Rachel Levin, who is currently with Stran. So there you go.
That is awesome. Yeah, and I just got to meet Rachel through the Promotions East thing, and again, echo everything you just said. Well done.
All right,
All
Kirby.
right.
Thank you.
Yep.
Supplier woman to watch, Kirby. Who do you got?
Okay. So I'm going to go with, start with, and I don't think she's been on the list before. So this is where I got to go a little bit different. So I'm excited about this. Yeah. And to be honest with you, supplier woman was the one I struggled with the most because there are just so many that came to mind. Like I literally made a list and then finally was like, okay, Samantha Cates from Spectre and Co. She.
Time out. Okay. She's mine too.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Okay, cool.
That's amazing.
All right. Well, then
I don't think she's been on the list, by the way.
I don't think she has, so we can go back and forth on that. So number one, obviously she was with Common SKU, went to Spectre. I've loved what she's done. She actually was a speaker at the SKUCon event in Vegas. And that's really where she like poofed to the top of my mind on this, because I just loved her philosophy about what was going to be happening in 2023, the way that they were planning out stuff. So Samantha Cates.
Yeah, I agree. Samantha Cates was mine as well. She is building quite the dream team over at Spectre with Ashley Coletti and a lot of other folks. I mean, she's really, really reimagining, maybe that might be a theme this year. She's reimagining what that supplier sales force looks like. And they are more active and more involved in industry events than I've ever seen that company be. And so Samantha Cates, 100%. Now I do have by the way, just for clarification, I do have a couple that maybe have appeared on previous year's lists, but I love the fact that we both independently nailed that one. Who's your runner-up or your honorable mention?
Honorable mention, another person who has not been on the list for me on this one is Dawn Brown from CPS. So she is a supplier rep. She's also on the OPA board. I believe she's still president of the OPA board. Dawn is one of those people who is just like salt of the earth, works hard, jumps in wherever possible, obviously through the regionals, but also just like she's, our rep at Hasseman Marketing. And she's one of those people who just will do anything for you. And I just love the way she does her business. So Dawn Brown is mine.
I don't know her, but I want to get to know her based on what you just told me. My honorable mention is Venus Tom, who is National Accounts Manager over at Imagine Brands. I've known Venus probably about 6-7 years, and she's really carved out one hell of a niche for herself at Imagine Brands. She is indispensable in my mind in that company. And she, through, let's be honest, the company's had some turmoil. The company's had some turnover in terms of leadership before Lisa Lamond got there, and then sales reps and all that. She's been the constant. And I think there's something to be said for that. She's the one who has really she's been kind of the glue in my mind that's held that together from our outside perspective. Yeah. And so Venus Tom from Imagine Brands.
And super fun. She's super fun.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah. Love it.
All right. I'll take the next one. Service provider women to watch. Again, now this is someone who has been on our list before as a supplier.
Okay.
Now she's a service provider. That would be the one and only Lindsay Davis from PPAI.
Okay. I like that.
Once again, you talk about someone who is come into PPAI. She's already had a couple different roles, and she's in the process of building her dream team. She's brought over Heather Mangold. Yeah. Was amazing. She's been on the list before. Lindsay Davis, to me, is exactly the type of energy, the type of experience, the type of passion that an association needs from people coming from the industry. And so Lindsay Davis would be my service provider woman to watch. And my honorable mention is from ASI. It's Sarah Lavandusky, who is the digital content editor. She does a really great job. You and I have talked on this podcast many times about how ASI over the past 3 years, really since the onset of COVID, has completely stepped up their game, especially in the news and editorial department. And I
Agreed.
think Sarah's been a big part of that. So
Mhm.
Lindsay Davis from PPAI, Sarah Lavandusky from ASI. Kirby, who you got?
All right. So I'm going to start with a service provider woman to watch would be Amelia Model. Your former coworker there at Promo Corner.
Absolutely.
She is, I think, VP of sales over there. And
Yep.
she's just one of those people that I think does a great job in her job, but then she's also one of those people who lifts people up. And so Amelia is my woman to watch. And then my honorable mention, I think she's been on the list before, is Kate Mayswitch from Common Skew. Kate's one of those people who I also think is, though I think she's gotten a lot more recognition in the last year or so, she's one of those people that I think is behind the scenes that really makes this, at least in my mind, the SKU camps, those things run without a hitch. And if I were putting together an event or whatever, it'd be like, okay, how do I get Kate on the team? So she would be my honorable mention.
100%. Kate is amazing. You and I have known Kate, I think, for about the same amount of time. And again, you talk about somebody really blossoming into what they do.
It's amazing.
She's a definition of that. And Amelia, I can't say enough nice things about Amelia. I was honored to work with her for about 2.5 years, honored to call her a friend. I think what she does, she continually stretches herself. She's continually looking to do new things. And I just think she brings a little bit of effervescence into every room she walks in. So I couldn't agree with you more.
Well, the other thing, and you just said it, and I didn't say this, so I think it's worth saying, is obviously she does a great job in sales, but what she's done is really taken a role on doing content, which I don't know was the thing that she wanted to do when she first stepped into it. And she's done a great job and really a leadership role in that. So yeah.
I can tell you, I hired her. It was not part of her job description, but she certainly stepped into it and has made it her own. And so I applaud that too. All right. Women on the rise. This is honestly one of my, transparency, as Kirby would say. I came up with the categories. Several of them kind of mean the same thing. Too bad, our list.
Yeah.
Women on the rise. This was the easiest category for me to do.
Okay, cool.
Women on the rise. Jolie Goodson from Genumark. She's a senior account manager, but she also hosts the Branding Matters podcast.
Yes, that's right. That's a good one.
I have really, I've known about her for the past, I'd say 1.5, 2 years, but I've really gotten to know her a little bit through a lot of the content she produces.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta tell you, that chick is badass. So I'm a big fan of Jolie Goodson. I think she's got a really great message. I think she's an expert clearly in her own branding, let alone her company, her client branding. She's just fantastic. So Jolie Goodson. And my also went on the rise, has been on the list before, but still, Ashley Coletti. I've known Ashley for quite a long time. I was able to mentor her through the Promo Kitchen mentorship program.
Cool.
Obviously, she was at Common Skew. She left to follow to follow Sam over at Spectre. And now that Ashley is a full-blown Promo Kitchen chef, she was a sous chef for a while. She's really taken on a lot of responsibility, and she is just a dynamo. If you've ever had an opportunity to be around Ashley, she's tireless energy. She's big fun. Ashley Coletti from Spectre. So Jolie Goodson from Genumark and Ashley Coletti from Spectre. Who do you got?
Okay. So women,
do you have any comments?
No, no arguments at all. It's one of the things that, honestly, one of the reasons that I think that this is my favorite podcast that we do each year is that we're practicing what I preach on a regular basis, in the sense that we're pushing out good and for people who deserve it. And it's just like, so when you said all this, the moment you said Joelle, I was like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. That's a really good one. And so, 100%. Those are great.
Yeah.
So mine, I'll go through these. My woman on the rise, number one, is Allison Isolt. Allison is, she was a multi-line rep with her brother, Matt Isolt. And so came into the industry that way. I've just been immediately was impressed with her, but she's actually taken on a new role at Showdown Displays, covering sort of a similar region, but kind of making a jump into a supplier rep position. She's just one of those people, kind of like you were talking about, effervescent, right? She's one of those people who's just fun to work with, does a great job in her role. And I love that. So that's the person that immediately popped into my head. And then someone else, and this was, as I was looking back at last year, we looked at a couple of folks who were new, kind of new faces in the industry in this particular category. And so that's what inspired me to say, my honorable mention is Hallie Moore. Hallie is the daughter of the Moores who own Promo Corner. She's taken on some of the social media, the content side. So I have interactions with her because, you know, some of the content that I send over to Promo Corner, she's making sure everything gets done right and all that sort of thing. I found her to be not only really good at her job, but just a delight to work with. So Hallie Moore.
Awesome. Great nominations there.
Yeah.
I think those are great. And apologize to Joelle. I mispronounced her name. I always look at that and I think it's Jolie. So
well, maybe I was wrong. Sorry. Yeah, no.
There.
It's all good. Okay.
And
cool.
you froze. Wow. Hopefully he comes back. So right now, Kirby is frozen, but maybe he's unfrozen. Oh, he's unfrozen. We can continue recording. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Sorry about that, because you froze on mine.
No, that's okay. I was just saying I mispronounced Joelle. I said Jolie, but I do that often. I'm not that smart. All right. Women Trailblazer Award. Now, this to me is one of my favorites because we named it after Janelle Nevins. If you didn't know Janelle Nevins, you missed out. She was a absolute lovely powerhouse woman. She was a trailblazer in the fact that she really broke into promo when it was really a good old boys club. She owned the Coca-Cola account for decades. And so I always like to give her a nod. She mentored so many. So my trailblazer nominee or winner, whatever you want to call it, is someone who's been on the list before, and it's Kathy Chang from Redwood Classics. She is, if you don't know her, you should. She is an advocate for diversity. She is a brilliant mind when it comes to running her business and marketing. And you know what? You'd say, wow, she's probably not a lot of fun. She's big fun to hang out with. She's awesome.
Yeah.
So Kathy Chang from Redwood Classics. And then my honorable mention here, and it was a toss-up. Gotta tell you, toss-up. Janet McMaster from Geiger.
Oh, I love that.
Janet McMaster. She's a regional VP over at Geiger, and I don't know. And I've had the honor to serve with Janet on many different occasions. I've been on boards with her. You and I are both on the PPEF board with her right now. And the woman has a tireless energy about her that is absolutely infectious. And, you and I talk a lot in this podcast, when you're hiring someone, go for someone who cares. You can't teach care. This woman has care, it's just overflowing. So my honorable mention would be Janet McMaster from Geiger.
Oh man, those are two immensely wonderful choices. And it's funny. So this is one where I actually thought we might have some overlap. So I wrote down 3 that, and Kathy Chang was on that list. So I'm not going to give Kathy because I've got 2 others to go there. So my Trailblazer of the Year is going to be Taylor Borst. And so Taylor is, and the reason I'm saying that is I think she is, as a person in the social media presence, is just doing a great job of not only doing her gig for American Solutions for Business, but also sort of leading the way, right? So she's showing people how to do social media for their businesses. She is thoughtful. She is aggressive on that promotion side, but it is also kind of growing a team of people underneath her. So she's one of those people that, of those, I'm going to age myself, but the old E.F. Hutton ad where it says when
people talk, people listen.
Yeah,
when E.F. Hutton talks, people listen.
Right. And so Taylor Borst is one of those people. Every time she puts out a piece of content, I'm like, okay, what does she have to say today? Because I'm going to learn something. So that would be number 1. And then sort of my honorable mention is Ronnie Wright. So Ronnie is awesome. Obviously been, for those who know Ronnie, she works for the book company and has done a great job within the industry. But I also love her journey on kind of showing people the idea of yoga and meditation and mental health, and really being a leader in the space really for years on that.
Right.
And I love what she's done to sort of elevate a conversation that wasn't a big conversation, but I think in today's world, more important than ever on that. And so Taylor Borst and Ronnie Wright.
Two great choices, Kirby. This is such a list of positivity. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
We've got two more categories left, and I'm pretty amped up, but I feel like I got to amp it up just a little more. Hey, distributors, real quick, ask yourself this question: is your marketing working? Well, if you can't answer that question with an immediate, oh, absolutely, Bill, you need to reach out to Promo Pulse. That's right. They can help you consistently amplify your sales through stunningly beautiful outbound marketing that's so easy you can set it, customize it, forget it in 5 minutes. Want to learn more? Of course you do. Head over to promopulse.io/amp. Not going to be sorry you did. All right, Kirby. So the second to last topic or category is most creative woman. Kirby and I have decided to name this the T. Hamilton Memorial Creative. T was a friend of both of ours. Tragically lost her battle with cancer a few years ago, and absolutely left a void in the industry. Left a void in a lot of our hearts too, to be very candid with you. But so the T. Hamilton most creative woman, I would love you to go ahead and start off with this one, Kirby.
Absolutely. And so every time we talk about this, and like you sent me the list to go over, the idea that it was immediately like, well, of course this is the T. Of course it is. So I love that you mentioned that. All right. So my most creative woman this year is Jessica Gibbons Rausch. So I know she's been on the list in different places, but she is one of those people who, and honestly, this is a compliment for me that I give, that I don't give to a lot of people, that she makes me think about things differently. She is an independent thinker. And because I think creativity comes in a bunch of different ways. It's like, not only is it doing cool graphic design, but it's also having the thought that isn't group speak. And JGR is one of those people who thinks for herself and thinks differently than me in some ways, and I love that. So that's my
great choice.
My most creative woman. And honorable mention, honestly, this one's an easy one for me too. Charity Gibson. Charity is one of those people who, again, is constantly pushing and doing things differently than other people in the industry, and striving to encourage people to do the same. So Charity Gibson is my honorable mention.
Great. Two great choices. I love them both. And so I want to be real clear here. Charity does listen. Charity's not on any of my lists, and that's by design. She could have filled out about 6 of these different categories.
Of course, yeah.
And she's been on the list, and so I wanted to recognize other women. So Charity, we love you. What you do in our industry is unequaled, quite frankly. So thank you for all that you do.
Love it.
Okay, so my most creative woman, this was an easy one for me.
Okay.
Renya Nelson with Brand Aid.
That's a good one.
I have known Renya for almost 10 years now. Wow. Man, I'm old. She gets younger, I get older. But Renya at Brand Aid, the way she views her boutique agency is radically different than 95 to 99% of everybody else in our industry. And her work ethic is amazing. But what she comes up with from a creative perspective, from the way her agency is laid out to the work that she does for her clients, truly some of the most creative work that anybody in this industry does. So Renya Nelson with Brand Aid. My honorable mention, this is a pretty easy one. I don't think she's a huge fan of mine. That's okay. That would be Melissa McCauley from Numo. Okay. I know that she did not like the fact that we didn't like their April Fool's joke a few years ago, and I don't think she's forgiven me. But that doesn't change the fact that she's absolutely one of the most creative women in our industry.
No argument.
What she does at Numo is amazing. It's truly incredible. She thinks differently about merchandise than the rest of us do. Yeah. So whether she's happy with us or not happy with us, I really don't care. I just think she is one of the most creative women in our industry. So that would be Renya Nelson from Brand Aid and Melissa McCauley from Numo.
Good call. Those are good. And I hadn't thought about Melissa, and that's a really, really good one. I like it.
All right. Last category, and this is kind of the hard one.
Okay.
The woman it's you
a hard
hire.
One. It's a hard one because you're trying to be different. It's actually the easiest one for me.
Yeah, well, I know, but we should call this the Catherine Graham who you hired to run your company. But she's not on my list purposefully. All right. So the woman you hired to run your company, Kirby, let's just do the top ones and then we'll do the runners up. So let's go back and forth on this one.
Okay, so
the woman you'd hire to run your company.
So you didn't call it the Catherine Graham who you would, so it's Catherine Graham. Like, I think this is so.
Can't argue with it.
So this is my argument. Like, the idea that LeBron James has only won the MVP award like 3 times makes the MVP award stupid. He, of course, was the most valuable player because he was the best player on the planet for an extended period of time. Like, the idea that Phil Jackson won Coach of the Year once is absurd, right? So in this moment, the one person from now until the end of time that we do this podcast, it's Catherine Graham. That's who I would hire to run my business.
Yeah, not next year, because we're going to name this the Catherine Graham.
Okay, well, that's fine. When we change it, that's fine. But until then,
we're going to put her, we're going to hang her, we're going to hang her jersey in the rafters. We're retiring her number because I agree with you. So I didn't put her on my list, but again, she's probably the first call I'd make. The second call I'd make, though, and my woman who I'd hire to run my company, and I wouldn't have said this a year ago, and this is someone who's been on the list last year as a supplier woman to watch, and that'd be Brittany Fraze from our sponsor today, Hirsch. And this is not me pandering to our sponsor, because they engaged us, Hirsch did, to work with them on their brand refresh and relaunch last year. I really got to work very closely with Brittany and her team, and I got to really see what she does and the value that she adds to that organization. For as young as she is smart as a whip. She is creative. She's very authoritative in a respectful way. She runs her team with aplomb. I'd absolutely hire her to run my company. So I think both choices absolutely fabulous, but we're going to have to retire Catherine. We have.
Well, again, it's what I loved is you used a lot of SAT words in the description. So well done.
I do have an SAT word of the calendar, word of the day calendar. All right. So your runner up for the woman you'd hire, let the non-Catherine Graham on your list.
Yeah. So what I would say also, just really quickly, this one was easy as well. And I ran this list of people that I came up with by my wife. And this was the one that I said, what do you think about this? And she was like, oh, yeah, exactly. And so my honorable mention, Kara Keister. Kara's with Social Good Promotions, works with Roger Burnett. I just love their mission. She's been on my list, I think, before. I love what they do. But she is she's got a skill set that is just perfect for operations and running things. And Kara, by the way, gives back in a million ways in the industry as well. I think she's is it rack board at this point, or is she on the PPI board?
I think she is the liaison to the PPI board. There's no more rack board. It's kind of a different little regional. No, it's a different regional situation.
But anyway, an influencer in the industry as well. But so Kara Keister would be mine.
I think Kara's a great choice. I mean, the fact that she helps run the company. If anybody can wrangle Roger Burnett, that creative force. Roger's a super. If you don't know Roger Burnett, and this is a podcast about women, but quick shout out to Roger. Roger's a very creative guy, also very sometimes challenging to get him down to get to where he needs to be. And I think she does a great job at that. That's a testament to Roger for his absolute brilliance and the way he thinks, and a testament to Kara, who we're really talking about here, to make sure that things get done. And I think she would be a great choice. Mine is, and you may or may not know her, it'd be Summer Nichols from Zebra Marketing. Now, I've known Summer probably about 10 years. And she is rolling off the PPAMS board, the Mid-South board. I've worked with her on a number of occasions, and she thinks in terms of community, both internally and externally. I think she would make an inspired leader. There's a person who started with zero and built an enormous book of business, knows what it takes to do that, knows the skill set she would need to have support her to do that. So I picked Summer Nichols as my runner up.
Love. That's good stuff, man. This is fun.
How much time do we have left?
I mean, we're at 34 minutes right now.
We're done, man. We're done. This is going to wait for next week.
Okay, cool.
But I tell you what won't wait for next week. And joking aside, this is absolutely it's the hardest podcast to put together because it takes the most amount of time. We do it independently. Neither one of us, just like we all our podcasts, we have no idea what the other one's talking about. And I love that. But I love that we're able to shine a light on maybe some people that don't get that spotlight often enough. So really good stuff. So let's do a quick shout out to our pals over at Hirsch. Again, they don't want to tell you about all the amazing merchandise they have, the fact that they have deep inventory. No, they don't want to do. They don't need that right now. What they want to do is you to help them donate some money. All right. Their charity of choice is Homes for Our Troops. They build homes for servicemen and women who have come back and need some help. And the charity, it's a great charity. They've built 346 homes since their establishment in 2004. You don't need to really do anything. All you need to do by Monday at midnight Central Time, Monday, March 20th, 2023, Central Time, midnight. Head over to the Hirsch website. That's hirschpromo.com. Kirby's writing this down. Take a few minutes, find your favorite piece of merchandise and copy the link, and then send an email to marketing@hirschpromo.com with the subject line donate. And then in the body, just put your favorite Hirsch merchandise. For every email they get from an email address, one per email address, for every email they get, they're going to donate $10 to Homes for Our Troops. Last year, 2022, they donated $100,000. They're looking for you to help them get over that hump in 2023. Really exciting stuff. One donation per email address. Absolutely. Kirby's applauding Hirsch. I am applauding Hirsch. And I think we're also applauding the fabulous women in this industry.
Yes.
Without the women in this industry, we would be a lot lesser of an industry. That's for sure. Kirby, do you have any parting words before we shut it down?
Like I say, this is one of the favorite ones. And I think that actually my thought is that we need to do not more women of industry things, but more shout outs in the industry, because I always feel better when we do it by shining a light on good people doing good work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. To all the women on the list, to all the women who were mentioned, to all the women who weren't mentioned, thank you for all that you do that makes all of us better. We truly appreciate you. Happy International Women's Month. Kirby, this drops on St. Patrick's Day. Happy Lucky Charms Day. Let's go. We're done. Wrap it up. Pull the plug. Turn it off. We're done.